Okay, pre-show shenanigans, Grant. This could have been something that we saved for the college football part of the episode, but we're not. We're giving everybody a taste early today of what we do on the Waterway podcast. Okay, Grant. Recently, I think within this past week, the NCAA approved um, the monetization for collegiate stadiums, teams,
Yes,
whatever,
that is
brands,
true.
right?
We are approaching the All-State 12 conference.
They additionally approved conferences to receive sponsors.
Yes.
So, with that stated, what would be the best companies? Let's embrace debate here. What would be the best companies to sponsor different conferences? The example
All
here
right.
is
Yeah,
Conference
All-State.
USA being like USAA conference, right? Like sponsored by USAA.
So I think actually the best way to approach this situation. So our main goal here is to grow the sport, of course. So we want to grow the game. We want to get more eyeballs on college football. So what's the best way of doing that? Sponsor other conferences. The Big 12 conference should be called the Sun Belt Big 12 conference. Okay, the Sun Belt, they can promote their conference a little bit, get some movement going there. And at the same time, the Big 12 still receives some type of sponsorship. It's a win-win for all parties involved, but we have to be sure that we have the Sun Belt Big 12 conference, not to be confused with the Sun Belt 12 conference. Okay, so we want to make sure we have these key names in there differentiating between the conferences. But on a serious note,
Yeah,
to the actual
cannot wait
question.
for the
So,
Alabama SEC conference. That's going to be great.
yeah, so if I'm going to start off with the mid, let's start. I'm going to think Big Ten. I think for the Big Ten, I think a beer sponsor would be the best. But now I need to ask for your expertise here. What do you think is the most common light beer in the Midwest? Are we calling it the Budweiser Big Ten? Are we calling
Well,
it a?
Budweiser is a big Midwest beer. I think Coors is up there.
I'm thinking
Miller
more
Light
Coors
though.
West Coast.
I would say Miller might be the beer of
Okay.
choice though.
Now, when I think of um, Miller, I don't know why, but I immediately think of like St. Louis.
I think Wisconsin. I don't know why.
Okay. Okay. I could work with that.
Iowa kind of they got the kind of corn on the side, looking things on the side of the can. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, pretty much where I'm getting at is what region drinks Keystone?
It's not here.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out that question.
I have never seen somebody drinking Keystone, so I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I don't quite know the answer to this question.
Maybe the unnamed intern would have it, but unfortunately he's on leave right now.
Yeah, there's a slight issue with the unnamed intern right now.
I think a beer brand for Big Ten definitely like that. Like if it's gonna be Midwest, right? Like what says Midwest more than beer, right? Like what? Nothing. I don't really know if anything. Maybe I really don't know if any. Maybe like Culver's. Maybe you get some cheese curds in there, right? Like maybe that's a little bit more Midwest. Maybe
Yeah,
A&W sponsors it, like the root beer company. Like that could be, that could be a little bit something. But once you go to East Coast, oh, you know what has to be on the East Coast, Grant? Dunkin' Donuts. You're getting Dunkin' Donuts to sponsor just anything
yeah, I
more
would
on the
say
East
okay.
Coast.
This is one thing. Growing up in LA, I'm not quite familiar. Dunkin' Donuts has like a monopoly over the East Coast.
It's
I've
like
kind of learned
past
this.
monopoly at this point.
Yeah, I've kind of become aware of this now. Now, for me personally, like when I think of Dunkin' Donuts, like the only occasions where I would hit a Dunkin' Donuts is like in an airport. Like that's not a destination spot in LA. I would say.
No, I would say Krispy Kreme is typically the destination, or
Well,
you're going to some
actually,
trendy like
okay.
local thing.
Idea ACC. We're branching. We're going the cross country conference
Okay.
instead of the Atlantic Coast Conference. It should just be the CCC cross country conference. I think both in a way to help support the introduction of some West Coast teams, into the ACC. We can also help some expansion for a local West Coast chain. So the In and Out ACC conference. I think
I
that's
was gonna go with the
I still
Charmin
think
Ultra Soft ACC, but that that also works.
that could also play, but I think we could even go like one step further with the ACC, and we can just call them, what is a brand that always like backs out of deals and like tries to backdoor their ways into thing.
The
Uh,
Pac-12.
I Not quite. Pac-12 hasn't really had any notable teams in a while, but ACC, kind of the kings of backdooring a team into the playoff. What's like a shady, sneaky company that definitely doing some weird stuff?
Does
Maybe
Twitter slash X count? Like, is that like a brand that works here? Facebook,
I think Facebook's a bit better.
Facebook.
Facebook's a bit better. Yeah,
Yeah,
Facebook's a bit
Facebook.
better. Yeah, the Facebook ACC conference. That could play as well. Okay. Actually, I think best case scenario, SEC. Well, first, just who gets the Chick-fil-A / Raising Cane sponsor?
Has to be the SEC.
SEC, or would there be a smaller conference in that Southern
Otherwise, it'd have to be like the
warranted?
American, because that's also like the
Yeah,
next like
yeah. Well,
Southern
Chick-fil-A's
plus.
got to be on there somewhere.
I would say,
Ooh,
you know what, I think Chick-fil-A probably has to be SEC. So when you think
yeah,
when
it's
you
just
think
so big.
Chick-fil-A, you think Peach Bowl.
Peach
When you
Bowl.
think Peach Bowl, you think of the SEC. All right.
Yeah, I was about to go now. I know we have gotten rid of the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl, but let's bring Tostitos back.
I was thinking about that.
I'm thinking for Tostitos, the Mountain West
Also,
Tostitos
now
Conference.
here's where you get in the problem where now you have to think about Canes. If you did Chick-fil-A, you got to think about Canes, and you have to think about Popeyes, Grant. You can't leave Popeyes hanging like that. And you don't want to put Popeyes on the Big 12. That's disrespectful to Popeyes.
Yeah, no, we're not.
You can't do it to either of them.
Yeah, yeah, I think. Okay.
Who
SEC,
the real
Chick-fil-A gets
question
SEC.
though is
Chick-fil-A, SEC.
who gets the Maction though? That's the real question.
Oh, McDonald's Big Mac Maction.
I like that.
Is that an easy
like
one,
that.
or is that
that's
simple?
that that works pretty well. Can you imagine though Burger King got the Maction?
Wait,
though?
well, wait, real quick. So Ligue 1 in France, they were known as the Uber Eats Ligue 1 League for a while.
Yep.
Now I think Uber is trying to expand a little bit more. Which conference would be the Uber Eats League or Uber Eats conference?
So
And
which
when I mean
states,
this, I mean the most pathetic. The
I
most
was gonna
pathetic
say,
because Ligue 1 is the only league that's known as the Uber.
I was
Uber
gonna say
Eats.
which states probably use Uber Eats the most.
It would essentially be the Pac-12. Like I know they are dissolved; they are essentially done for the time being. They have a two.
Here's my question, Grant: would the Pac-12 be more Uber Eats, Postmates, or DoorDash, or hit them with a Grubhub? All right, like which one?
Oh, so Grubhub, so Grubhub, so Grubhub. Actually, you hit that right on the head. I'm thinking, could we get an airline sponsor somewhere? Like ACC airline sponsor, in theory, would probably make the most sense.
Well, you know what it would be? It would
flying.
be no, it would be the American Conference. That's what it would be.
What? Okay, American Conference, or the American Conference presented by
American. See, that's cleaner, but I think it's funnier if you're going American Conference.
I just want as many words in the title as possible.
Yeah, then you do the American Conference sponsored by American Airlines. Lots of A's.
No, yeah.
Or you could say American
the All-State Big
Conference.
12 Conference sponsored by the All-State Sunbelt Conference.
Yes.
Yeah, and at the start or at the start of every game, over the loudspeaker, it says, "Are you in good hands?" Just
well, you know what would be even better
deafening.
If you do CUSA and you do the CUSAA, you just have Gronk start every game. He's looking for the USAA membership.
You know, while we're on topic,
he's been looking for it for like 8 years.
What's the Tide Pod Conference? Who gets that?
Well, you can't, you can't spread Gronk too thin, right? You got to choose between him being with USAA or Tide Pods, and I think that his talents need to go to the USAA conference. Right?
Okay, like, let's say one step further. Let's say we then eventually reach a stage where it's like the NBA. Every team can have an individual jersey sponsor. Where do we see the best fits between a specific university and a brand. Like we
It'd be
already
the
know
Florida
Texas
Gators.
Lambeau.
If you were going
We
realistic,
already know that.
it's if we're going realistic, it's Florida Gators and Gatorade.
Oh my god, it's too easy.
Like
That's
that's
like too
the
easy.
that's come on, come on. You
Yeah,
can't
no,
lob
that
that
one's
up
too
to you
easy.
can't lob that up to me like that.
So okay, while we're on the topic of the Gators, the other day I saw a funny little post. And it's do you know the difference between these two animals? It's like wide nose,
Alligator and a crocodile or
yeah,
something.
difference between crocodile gator and now I'll be honest, I don't actually know the difference. What I learned from the weekend though, wide nose gator, narrow
Hmm.
nose crocodile, but
Yep.
regardless, yeah, I didn't need to know that. I immediately got it when someone replied, the one with the wide nose can't make a bowl game. So that's all I need to know. Now I know for the rest of my life, wide
You'll be on
nose,
top of it.
Florida Gator swamp. I'll know that for the rest of my life. That's how I'll know the difference now. Wide nose, no bowl games. That's how you know. I Is there any no, there's no croc football team. Even though I mean crocodile in my
Well,
opinion objectively is just a sicker
here's the
name than
thing. If we had a
alligator, but
ban,
that's
if
just
you had a ban, like the Florida Gators
Crocs.
could not use Gatorade. The brand that they should be sponsored by is the
Crocs.
Crocs by Crocs.
Crocs.
Which would be even more funny though if, by the way, if
Every coach is on the sideline dripping out
just
in
in
their
Crocs, but
Crocs,
it'd be
but
even more
always in
funny.
sport mode.
It'd be even more funny though if Crocs or Gatorade ended up sponsoring like FSU or Miami or one of the in-state rivals from Florida, and the Gators just don't have their
Yeah,
own sponsorship.
if I'm thinking of just other just easy sponsors that just fit and make sense, like I feel like uh no shit.
Well, it'd be Longhorn Steakhouse for Texas.
Well, we already know Lamborghini with Texas. We
Well,
already got
okay,
that one out
I'm
of the way.
thinking fair.
I get what
Okay,
you're saying though,
that
but
does work, but I personally like the Longhorn Steakback out whatever Longhorn Steakhouse, and then you can have the rivals be Outback Steakhouse. Like,
well, I was thinking while you just brought up Outback, I immediately just thought to our interview with Quan when he was mentioning that I think UCF has a righty and a lefty Aussie punter. So I think we could just make
yep,
UCF the Outback
Steakhouse.
team. You know, they got the
That
most
does
Aussies
work.
on the team.
That does work.
Checks out. Oh, also fun fact: Ohio State just got a new punter from Australia once again. Shout out Jesse Mirko, our last punter. He's moving on, but our new punter, I believe he'll be a 26-year-old freshman.
Still not the oldest like punter that I've heard of, but yeah, you know, that's still pretty up there.
When I think of just really old Ohio State players, in the Luke Fickell head coaching season for Ohio State, Braxton Miller's true freshman season, Braxton didn't start right away. The starting quarterback was, I believe, Joe Bowserman. Let me sure I have this correct. Joe Bowserman. I remember when I saw him playing, he was balding. He was
just what you want to see from
like,
your starting quarterback.
Something's off. I'm pretty sure he was like a 29-year-old.
That's the grad assistant that you get to come in and play for one game when you need them. That's what that sounds like to me.
Okay, so this is what happened in 2007. Or this after school, Joe Bowserman got drafted by the Pirates, went and played minor league baseball. So he technically had college eligibility left.
Okay.
So then he retired from minor league baseball and then joined Ohio State in like 2000. It says 2007, but I still don't think the math is mathing there. I think he joined a little bit later. But I just remember like a 29-year-old quarterback at Ohio State. Didn't last long. Braxton Miller came in pretty quickly.
Seems pretty hard to stave off a 5-star athlete like that. So,
yeah, real quick. I think Braxton got that 5th star, but it didn't matter. We all saw what he was. Anything else on the pre-show? Anything else to dive into? Yeah, I mean the All-State 12 conference though is just wow. We are truly in a new era. But I'll be honest, like, am I surprised? No. We kind of all saw this coming eventually. I just hope the Big Ten gets a sick sponsor.
I hope that the Pac-12 ends up getting to sponsor somebody just as a legacy name. It's the Pac-12 Big Ten Conference. Like that's what I hope.
Well, I just cannot wait for the Big Ten to expand to like 22, 24 teams, and then we just break it up into an East and West conference, and we'll just call them the Big Ten and the Pac-12.
Yeah, no, it is going to eventually lead that way.
Yeah, I think objectively speaking, that would be the way to go go at the end of the day. Kind of have Big Ten, SEC swamp up, and then we could like split up Big 12 or ACC or some shit like that. I think we're kind of moving to the two super conferences, but just with 12 team playoff and everything, it's so many different things are going to be changing. Like, I feel like we kind of need to digest what happens over the next season or two with the playoff to like truly make a decision on how to move forward and what to do. But yeah, I think that's gonna do it. All right, let's get into it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Waterboy Podcast. Today is episode 231. The Dodgers might be dead. Bryson DeChambeau won his second U.S. Open. The Celtics are going to gentlemen's sweep tonight, and college football is truly moving into a new era with the All-State 12 Conference. Don't think that's actually confirmed yet, but let's just play it safe and assume that's coming. All right. Don't be surprised when it's the All-State 12 Conference. Every single commercial on All-State 12 games will involve All-State guy. Just get ready for it. You'll see those All-State hands in the field goal. They'll be everywhere. Okay. Everywhere.
Now, Grant, this is a good transition for one of the like 12 different things I have to go over today. But this is for something on the NBA. All right. I saw this point made the other day, and the more that I thought about it, the more that like I realized how accurate it was. So I know that you are the biggest basketball fan of both of us here. You watch every single Lakers game physically
Don't miss a
possible.
game.
Do not miss a game.
Never missed a game.
I know that you've acknowledged this before. When we were growing up, all right, like even in 2K lately, but specifically when we were growing up, you would always see the player introductions on the broadcast, right? You see them running through, you'd have the pyrotechnics, everything. Like I remember distinctively always seeing, and number 24, Kobe Bryant, right? Like I remember that. I know you remember that, right? But I don't know about you. I don't remember any game that I've watched in like at least the last 3 years having the player introductions on them anymore. Like I don't remember that part. And it's more so it's been replaced with ads. They just play ads now right before tip off. You don't see the player introduction.
Yeah, actually, I've not quite.
And the more that I've thought about it, we had this discussion before where we were thinking about how come basketball right now just feels different than when we were kids, right? Is it the rivalries? Is it just how much the players want to play? Is it the care? Is it, what is it? And the more that I thought about it, we've gone over the competitiveness and the rivalries of things before and how it's a little bit lackluster now compared to where it was. But I think one of the bigger things that is a minor thing is the fact that they don't do player introduction anymore. Like they don't care about those little details that makes you care a little bit more. Like, I don't know about you, but whenever there's the player intros, I care 110% more about the game and the players because of that than if not before.
Yeah, I would say in general, one thing that I've like thought about NBA, like growing up, I swear, like late 2000s, like 08 to early 2010, like 08 to 2012, like NBA is like the only thing I followed. Like it was that, Ohio State specifically, and then just like general NFL. Like that was it. I didn't care about anything else. Like you think I was watching Dodgers late 2000s? Dude, come on. I had shit to do in the summer. I wasn't gonna ruin my summers.
Yeah, we gotta play Pokemon. We went over that.
Yeah, when I think about that angle, but this current day NBA, it's just like we're in a transition period from the old guard of LeBron, Steph, KD, and we're moving into a new era of just new superstars. And I just think right now, I don't necessarily care for these players as much as I used to.
No, I definitely.
It really helps when you're growing up. You're just naturally gonna like love those players. Just you don't know any better, so you're just gonna look up to them, as cool as it could be. But I just feel like in that era of NBA basketball, there were way more like, I feel like every team for the most part had some star on it.
And it wasn't like right
there
now,
was a
like,
reason
but
to
there's a
somewhat care about
difference.
every team.
There's a difference in the stars that we're talking about from then versus the stars right now. Like if
Yeah,
I'm
like
looking at the
when I
stars
mean
right
a
now,
star back then, I'm talking about like a Kevin Garnett on the T Wolves or Celtic. I'm
like
talking about
there are teams like every team had a
a
bona
T
fide
Mac on the
star then.
Rockets,
Now,
like a Vince Carter.
if you're talking about teams now, like let's just think about let's think about the Knicks. Let's look at the Knicks, right? The way that I think of Jalen Brunson on the Knicks, I would say Jalen Brunson is probably their best player. I don't think of him as a star in comparable to the ways that I've looked at players then as stars.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I do also think that one of the reasons why growing up we cared a lot more of those players and we look back on that era more fondly is because they had all those little nuances, little things that the broadcast teams cared about, like the player introductions and stuff, which made you care more about those players.
Well, yeah, sure. I would also say for that era, though, something that I've like kind of debated about with some longtime guests on the pod, Chad and Aiden. I feel like that era of basketball, well, this current basketball is just so team oriented and just revolving around moving the ball. Like ISO ball is just not the way anymore. But like when we were growing up watching, every team was playing ISO ball. Like Lakers, it was literally give Kobe the ball, clear out. Like Sixers, Allen Iverson, give him the ball, everyone get out of the way. Like Mellow Nuggets, get out of the way. He has the ball. That era was so superstar driven. Like let your superstar shoot 40 times a night. Like that's how we're gonna win. And I feel like under that era, like you had more beefs going around of players acting like they were the shit. Whereas like right now, it's like I don't know why I thought of this, but like Tyrese Halliburton, if Tyrese Halliburton's going up there putting up 8 shots like he does, getting like 10 points and like 13 assists, like he's not really gonna get like shit talked too hard, I feel like. But I feel like back then, if you're Carmelo Anthony versus like T Mac and either of them doesn't put up 20, it doesn't matter if you shot 80 times and shot 30%. Just if you just didn't give the other dude 20 or 30, you're a bum. Like I just feel like we had different standards. Like right
No,
now, it's
yeah.
like stat pad the whole like we're now in the era of triple doubles is what raises eyebrows. We don't care if you drop 30 anymore. Like if you drop a 30-point triple double, then people will care. That's what Luka's doing. But if like
Yeah,
back
Luka's
then,
soft though.
shit, like if Kobe put up 32 points, 7 rebounds, and 1 assist, everyone would be crowning him GOAT. But nowadays, if someone put up 32 points and 1 assist, it's like, dude, ball hog. Dude, come on, play team ball. I just feel like the standards have changed.
No,
like that era
think
of
so too.
ISO basketball, also, in my opinion, was just awful. Like it's awful basketball. If you go back and watch 2000, like there's a reason the Spurs would win it every other year. They're the only team playing basketball. Everyone else is playing pickup. It's just like, what the hell are we doing? But I also just think like we are now slow, like, and I think it could flip. And I think a guy that's really leading the charge and everything is like Anthony Edwards. He doesn't want to go team up, don't like build a super team or anything. Like Halliburton, it seems like he might want to stay in Indy. Like I think we're kind of entering an era where we see these superstars. They don't want to go ring chase, go team up with someone. They want to build whatever they have on their franchise that they currently are on. So like Anthony Edwards wants to stay on the T-Wolves. He wants people to come to him and he wants to be the face of a team that wins the ship. Like Jokic is the same way. Like Giannis has been flirting with leaving, but he's probably going to stay in Milwaukee. Like all these guys, I feel like we're moving away from that super team era, which is a good thing, great thing.
Well, speaking of making super teams, Grant, the legend himself has returned. This is one of the only times I think I have ever heard of a March Madness legend making waves after March Madness. Jack Golke has had a pre-draft workout with OKC. Grant.
Shout out Golke.
Shout out Golke. Shout out to
March
Jack
Madness
Golke.
legend. I mean, we have March Madness legends like DJ Burns.
If you can get 3 points if you can get 3-pointers on that OKC team though, just saying that
they need guys who can shoot. I'll be honest. Holy shit, OKC. Deplorable what you guys did. But yeah, I feel like just this era of NBA, it's also these superstars. I I feel like they're just not as interested. Like Luca, people are hating on Luca right now.
Well, I
How he's
also think
talking back to
Luca's a
refs and
bitch.
everything. Yeah, no,
So
exactly. But it's like I don't like you bitching to refs. I hate that. I hate that. I'll be honest. But like, if Luca's hitting step back threes in people's faces, then staring them down
no,
and shit
no, no,
talking,
that's
then I'd be a
fine.
fan.
Like I'm
But
cool
he's
with
not
that.
doing that. He's not
I'm
doing
cool
that.
with that. Like
So
he's done that once or twice. Like I'm cool with that, whatever. But when you're gonna be a player who excessively whines when something doesn't go your way
yeah, I mean, game three, we
on
didn't really
either
talk about it
side,
last
like
time, but
dude, I
the
cannot
end of game
respect that.
three, he's in foul trouble. He finally decides to play defense in transition, takes an awful, awful blocking foul, and then screams at his bench and Jason Kidd yelling at them to challenge it like it's their fault. Like, no, dude, Luca, like, what the hell are you doing? Like,
And they challenged it and
that
they
would have been
lost.
his, yeah. And that would have been a scenario where Luca, being how you are, like, just let him drive by you and score and pray you just come back and hit a three and make it up for a point. But, like,
Like
no, it's
Luca's
very interesting.
defense is an excessive liability. I don't know why the Timberwolves weren't really able to
Well, I think, to be honest, he's just really out of shape. And at the end of games, he tires out, gasses out. He gets lazy on defense, lazier than he already is, and just leads to fouls. Stupid, careless fouls that should not be happening. Like, I
it's also
feel
like
bad for
I'm also
Kyrie.
just surprised it's taken this long for refs, like that refs have just put up for with it with this long.
Oh,
If
no,
I
they
was a
hate
ref
him.
and
Oh, they hate him. They hate him.
if I was a
They,
ref and
they
had accept
despise him.
well, I would say that too, except when Luca jumps into another player while shooting, which should now be a foul on him rather than on the other player because it's a banned play now, and they still let that go through and let him have free throws. I would say that they're not necessarily opposed to him as much as you're saying because that's bullshit.
No,
But
they hate, like, hey, some fouls are gonna just go his way. Like sometimes he
well,
does
no,
actually
I'm
get
saying
fouled.
I'm saying when you're shooting the ball and you actively
I know, I
jump
know,
into
I
the player
know,
in
I
front of you,
know,
like
I know.
that's
The
not
James
a
Harden,
foul
I
that should be
know.
going your way.
No, I know, but it's just like my example is if it was another superstar, they could be getting those calls if they keep their mouth shut. He's not. Like there was a solid period of time where I would say like there's a time where Harden was getting away with it very bad, and ironically, like he hates refs. Don't get me wrong, but I would actually say, actually, shit. Now that I think, Harden would get on refs for sure, but the refs didn't really start screwing Harden over and not giving him foul calls till Chris Paul came. When Chris Paul went to the Rockets, then it was like, we're not giving you any calls now. Like Chris Paul's the number one king. He's the most hated player among refs.
Yeah, Scott Foster hates that fucking dude.
Yeah, no, yeah. Like their beef started like literally started like 2009, I want to say, with like Chris Paul and Rondo and like Scott Foster would
Can
get
you
into it.
imagine having a beef for that long with somebody?
Dog, I'm
Like
like I
that?
listened to a recent interview, and this I hope this remains for the rest of my life. Okay, the rest of my life. Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, um, Rondo, all those Celtics, they do not look at Ray Allen in the eyes since he left them and went to the Heat. They do not speak to Ray Allen. He's dead to them. I love that.
See,
And they
I
all
just I
hate
just don't
LeBron.
know. I'm just more so
Burning.
thinking
Like Paul
whatever.
Pierce truly hates LeBron James
No, I
more than
get
anyone in
that.
his life.
I get that, but like I'm saying, I don't the thought of whatever Chris Paul had to have done in game to Scott Foster or vice versa in 2009, whatever day that was, the fact that
Yeah,
it's
I
still
mean,
hold on
Chris
11
Paul, I
years
can
crazy.
totally understand how he starts beefs. Like the way he plays, like he's very like I'm talking specifically on defense. Like he is very touchy.
He's
Like
in there. He's in there.
he's a lot of questionable like nitpicky fouls, like where he's reaching in and shit. And it's like there's probably a couple of refs who just give it to him and he'll be friendly. But it's like if you give him one reach and foul that he doesn't think, he'll hate you, cuss you out for the rest of the game. Like that's just seems like how Chris Paul is.
Yeah, no, that
But I also just when I think of just that early era's NBA, like there were just so many beefs, bro, so many beefs, and it's just not the same. Like we just don't see that type of like
you just don't see
hate and
hatred.
animosity
You
in
just
the
don't see
NBA.
hatred like that.
Like, of course, there are players who don't like each other and don't get along. Don't get me wrong, but like, shit, like when it's All-Star Weekend, LeBron is dapping up every single dude in the locker room, like
That's
praying for them
LeBron.
to come in free agency. But it's like, MJ wasn't doing that shit. Like, you remember the clips? MJ's talking about that Laker boy. Like, Laker boy's gonna shoot it all the time. Like, MJ was there to kill. Like, there was no friendly
Well,
competition
yeah,
with
now the
Michael Jordan.
All-Star games in general, regardless of sport, are all nobody fucking cares anymore.
Yeah,
That's also the
and
difference in
I'll
every
be
in the
honest,
generation of
I
every
wouldn't
sport
either.
right now is they used to care. Fucking
Well, they
Sean
used to
Taylor
have
was
the
running
All-Star
through
games, like,
punters and shit.
meaningful. To be honest, the fact that up until, like, 6 years ago, the winner of the MLB All-Star game had home field advantage of the World Series, it's like, what are we doing? Like, it is a meaningless game that will dictate the championship. What are we doing? Like, this is
Like, here's the
stupid. The
thing.
AL
I
wins
I
every
kind of
year.
get that. I kind of get it for like the
Every year,
Super
the
Bowl,
AL
right?
wins.
Like it's just jerseys. Like I kind of like that idea. Like, okay, winner of the Pro Bowl, AFC, NFC gets to wear like their home jerseys. Like that's kind of fun. I like, but if it's like
Yeah, I
legitimate
love
field
everyone wearing their own,
advantage
like,
is ass. Legitimate field
years.
advantage
Yeah.
is not great. But that's kind of the thing. Nobody cares about the Pro Bowls or the All-Star games or anything like that anymore. Like there's no incentive for them like there used to be. Like it just used to be pride and money, but more so pride, and they
Yeah.
wanted to ball
I
out.
also
But
think, like, back then it's like you had hatred and players wanted to play in that Pro Bowl. Like Sean Taylor, I know we're thinking of the clip where he smacks the shit out of the punter. I highly doubt he had any beef with that punter. But
no, but it's
like
just playing.
Sean Taylor in the Pro Bowl, like, I don't know. I'll be honest, I don't know like if he had specific beefs with any players, but like if I had an opportunity to get a clean lick on a running back and it did not matter, it was a game that was meaningless. Oh my god, I'm sprinting through that guy. Like, like you have an opportunity to just embarrass a dude. I'm taking it every single time, like in that era.
Like,
But
don't get
like
me wrong. Like nobody's trying to actively injure somebody, but like if you can crack
mock
somebody,
him, yeah,
you're gonna crack them.
you want to get a lick on him. So like, yeah, from that angle, yeah, we just don't see that hate, that
Well,
animosity,
it's just a little
just in
soft right now.
sports.
Just a little
Like
soft
literally,
right now.
like arguably there are. I mean, there probably are more beefs between the PGA Tour golfers than
Oh yeah,
many
PGA
NBA
and
players.
Live, a hundred
Yeah,
percent,
a
100%.
million%. Even though at this,
Um,
yeah,
but
we can't be too mad at the Live guys now after the PGA partnered up. Now
speaking,
the initial PGA guys are just like, shit, you guys kind of.
hey, just don't forget at the Masters, they were like all PGA men, please report to the green at 9 p.m. or whatever. Still curious what that meeting was like or what it was about. Like that,
You're just like, guys, we need to win this one, all right? Like, step on their lines, knock over their balls, cheat, do whatever it takes. Okay,
play
Liv
dirty,
cannot take this
sweep
one
the
home.
leg, sweep the leg.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no,
Okay,
I don't really have anything
I got someone for
else
hockey,
necessarily
Grant.
for National Basketball
I've got
Association.
something for
Okay.
hockey. I know.
Okay, real quick, hockey. One thing I got to ask. So, Game 4 just went down. Oilers finally got their dub. They won. Did you see the score?
I did not.
The Oilers won 8-1. Okay, 8-1.
Mm.
But this is my question. Like when I think of just hockey compared to other sports in general, I feel like playoff series specifically. I feel like the average hockey series is just longer than other sports. Like I feel like the average hockey series is going
I
6 or
agree
7
with that
games.
typically.
Like once again, this is just off of just like I have no facts to back this up. I'm literally going off of feelings. So like I just feel like the odds of a hockey series going 6 or 7 games just higher than a different sport, but also at the same time, like I feel like the mental aspect of a hockey series is so important that if you're ever down 3-0 at some point, like I don't know how mentally you
Well,
can get
look,
back into it.
somebody made this point to me yesterday where it was basically they were like, look, Panthers just did not give a shit about the game. Like
Were they just trying to just like
they
rest
just
almost?
it's almost like a rest game, and then they can go back and win the Stanley Cup
At
in
home.
Florida at home.
Yeah,
Which
like
kind
one
of
thing
is
yeah.
somebody was making the same point. They're like, yeah, the Celtics were like intentionally lost the game so they could win at home. Like, I don't know if they intentionally lost that game. I think they just got fucked.
I don't think they intentionally lost that one.
But
Yeah.
I kind of get like in hockey, even like if you're down one, whatever, like finishing 8-1 based on the way the rest of the series is going, I kind of feel more so like it was like a we're just gonna
Yeah, no, that seemed a little more like take the foot off the gas for a night.
Like, because hockey, I feel like it's much harder to one reverse sweep and two come back, just energy
Yeah.
wise, mentality wise, all that. Um,
Yeah, like
so
I feel like despite winning 8-1, they're not going into Florida game 5 being like, "Oh, we're about to no, they're
no,
just
no,
like,
no.
"Oh, fuck."
Now, if they win this next game, we can have a conversation. We can have a
Okay.
conversation.
Yeah, if they could take it
And
in
if
Florida, we could talk.
I think the finals play tonight as well. Like if the Mavs win tonight, or whatever they win this next game, this game 5, then we
Yeah,
can have
no,
another
finals are
conversation.
tonight.
We can have a
Yeah.
conversation. All right, we can have a conversation. But with
Yeah,
hockey, all right,
I'll be
Grant.
honest, one thing I immediately thought of, sorry to cut you off, but, like, I just thought of how annoying it would be to be, like, a Canadian team and you just gotta constantly travel into United States and back and shit all the
Oh no,
time.
passports. Well, they probably have a lot of American players on that team, but
Oh, certainly.
also there's Canadians in the United States as well, like playing on those teams.
Yeah,
So
yeah, and I'm even thinking of just how many, like, Europeans are just playing like, they're
I
always
am
whipping out the
curious if they
passport.
have like, because they obviously charter, they might have teams or it might just be different. Like you don't
I'd
need to
hope
have your
so.
passport with you when you travel. If you're from like going from Edmonton or
No, yeah, I
Montreal or
was
something, they
literally
might just be like,
thinking,
hey, you're part of the hockey team. We know you're here
yeah,
for
like, if you're on
whatever.
the Toronto Blue Jays, like, baseball, you're traveling so much, like, they're probably at a point where it's just, like,
You
show us
just
your
like you're probably
passport
just like
start of
call
the year,
ahead.
it's
You
just
have some
somewhere,
deal
you're fine.
with them. You're like, we're literally going to be here for 3 days. You know exactly where we're
Yeah.
going to be.
Anyway, that was a stupid thing to bring up, go on.
Whatever. Yeah. Okay, Grant. So you're familiar with the Arizona Coyotes, all right? They are
Of
currently
course.
relocating to Utah.
Utah, yes.
So,
Little team name debate, okay.
for
Let me
this
just look
team,
up
for the
Utah hockey team.
first year of its inception, I guess we can say in Utah, its
Yeah,
team
they're known as
name
the
will
hockey
be
team, right?
the Utah Hockey Club, not hockey team,
Oh,
hockey
hockey
club.
club. I like that.
Now, their whole jersey, it's just plain, just says Utah, like diagonally, nothing. It's really just kind of a dud. Like it's
I
not
just
like a
saw their
joke
best
like the
name. I know
Washington
what's
football
their
club
best
or
name, but
team.
go on.
It's just we got the joke out with the Washington football team, right? Like this is just kind
Yeah,
of
we're done. We're done with
we're
it,
done
guys.
with
We're
it,
done.
right?
Even though it rolls off the tongue just so well.
But
Washington
but
football team.
here's the thing: the Utah Hockey Club, not necessarily the same. And the other names that are currently being voted on, I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to have them all like memorized. But there's the Utah Blizzard, the Utah Yetis, the Utah Hockey Club.
That's the Utah Yeti.
Oh, Yeti, not plural, just singular.
Well, I don't know, but there's a chance that Yeti may also be the plural version.
Of Yeti. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know. I don't
But
know. We gotta look it
Utah
up.
Blizzard, Utah Yeti, Utah Hockey Club. Uh, I don't remember. I think there was two more. But I don't know if
I
you have them
see
up.
Utah Mammoth,
Yes.
Utah Outlaws, don't understand, and Utah Venom, don't understand.
Don't understand.
I
Now, if
think
you're gonna ask me,
without question.
I would say Utah Blizzard is probably the cleanest one there.
Oh,
But you have to go with Yeti.
Utah Yeti, Utah
have to go
Yeti,
with
the
Yeti.
UU. Are you kidding me?
I
I
think
feel like this is a no
if
brainer.
Yeti, even if Yeti is the grammatically correct plural, you have to go with the Utah Yetis. Like it needs to be Yetis.
It's just regardless of the Yetis or Yeti, just Utah the UU.
The logo on that might be one of the cleanest. Like you could have the opportunity to have one of the best logos in sports.
Yeah, and like there's just so many opportunities with Utah Yeti. So many opportunities.
The
and
mascot,
I think
the mascot for that.
yeah, exactly. They could go so many different directions, and
You have an immediate sponsorship.
They can mess it up. Don't
you have an immediate
Yeti.
sponsorship opportunity
Yeti.
with Yeti. Also, Klondike
Okay,
Bar,
once again,
because Klondike Bar would definitely do some deal with you guys.
Yeah, like that. Like I just would say there's too many
make it a rivalry with beef jerky with Sasquatch. Like there's a lot of opportunities here.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess the Colorado Avalanche probably already inked up that Coors Light sponsorship. But shit, like Utah, they're right there. They could probably hit it too. Yeah, the Yetis are blue, you know? Like,
yeah, hockey club, that's just kind of lame now. And I mean,
I
Mammoth,
love how that's kind of that's now the standard for an interim name now. You just go as sport team / club academy. Like that, I kind of enjoy that.
Now I will say, I love the color scheme. I love the like the baby blue, white,
Yeah,
black. Like
light blue,
that's
white
clean. It's
looks
clean.
great. Looks great in my opinion.
But they had so like their logo is just the state, and the state just looks like a square that a child just bit the corner off of. Like it's
Yeah, I'll be honest, there's so many states where like specifically beginning Texas and south westbound from Texas. So many states with just perfect symmetrical rectangle lines and then just one corner of it's just a weird ass like
just corner
chunk
cut off.
or just little piece of shit just hanging out of there. It's like who the hell made who
It's like
drew these
Nevada.
state
Nevada's
lines?
kind of it's you got perfect, and then
Yeah.
diagonal
Yeah, I'm
line at the
thinking
bottom.
Nevada, I'm thinking like Nebraska, I'm thinking like Idaho, like what the hell? Like what like Colorado, Wyoming, South Dakota, perfect rectangles. For the most part, Washington, because it's a border, like Washington, Oregon, their border will kind of consider it like for the best that they can do rectangles.
Bama,
And
I
then you
think, is
just
pretty
got
close to. I don't think it's a perfect one, but it is closer.
pretty solid, but I'm more so talking like Texas and West when they were all like made pretty
Mm-hmm.
quickly, just out of nowhere. Like I'm thinking of like a New Mexico, like pretty, best that they could do. They just had that little like
They got a little
box
corner.
little
Yeah, a
thing at the
little,
bottom,
yeah.
but yeah, then you just see a Idaho. You just see something like that, and you're just like,
Like, what
who
the fuck is
who
going on here?
claimed this
Who
land?
took this corner? Why is this corner not a part of what is going on in that corner of Idaho? Like
Like
it's just enough.
Montana with the face in the side of the state. Like what? Like what happened there? A lot of questions, but
A lot of questions.
I'm not exactly sure how we got there from NHL, but I think
It was the logo for Utah being the Utah state, like the
yeah,
literal
not
Allen
ideal.
state.
Yeah,
No,
but
not ideal. Not ideal.
I would just say for hockey, just right now, we're just I want to McDavid to get his ring. I want to be able to say I watched the goat play, but
It's not looking.
yeah, it seems like there's
Not looking
levels to
great.
this.
Yeah.
It seems like there's levels. I would say just real quick NHL. One thing I heard is that the Panthers, they are just extremely physical. They're extremely tough, and they're the best penalty kill team in the NHL, or one of the
Yes,
best.
one of the
And
best.
so their strategy is first quarter, go like beat down Dreisaitl and McDavid, go hit them, get them worn down. We can take penalties in the first penalty kill. Hopefully it's tie game or like we're down 1 or 2 goals in the first. And then by the third period rolling around, their stars are just beat up and they just score 4 goals in the third.
Yeah, it definitely makes it entertaining to end. Like it makes for a very entertaining product, and I'm sure that's why the NHL just doesn't give a fuck. But
Yeah, it's like that first period for them. It's like they're essentially just holding on. Like we're not trying to sort. We're trying to set the tone, set the pace, and just hold on. And I'm pretty sure Game 4, Oilers just scored like 4 goals in the first, and it was like, well, we just lost. Like couldn't penalty kill.
yeah, I can't do much about that. Okay, Grant. We have a little bit of stuff to talk about the MLB and with the Dodgers. The first thing unrelated to that, though, that I wanted to just mention is: did you know retired MLB players get lifetime passes to whatever MLB
Oh
game they want to
yes,
go? I did not.
and
They have like it's a
you
gold card
well,
that they get.
this is the thing. It's I'm pretty sure like I think it's either a set amount of service time in the league or you're a part of the players association for a period of time, because I know there's a handful amount of current players who have it already. But pretty sure like retired players who I don't know what the length is, but a certain number of seasons you have a lifetime pass for you and a guest. The other thing though, if you work uh in an MLB front office. So you don't need like any position in a front office. And you work in that or you just work in the MLB for 40 plus years, then you get it.
You only
So
have
for
to
a
work for
non
40 years, though.
yeah, I know. But
You
for
got to
a
manage
non-player
to
to
stay
get it, you got
alive.
to spend 40 years working in executive branches in the MLB. I'm pretty sure it could be either for the team or the league as a whole, but 40 years. But yeah, no, they get the lifetime passes. And ironically, I love how the MLB knows if there's any league that could just hand out these lifetime passes and there wouldn't be any interference like with the stadium itself and like number of seats, it would be the MLB because they know they don't sell out every game. So they can just hand out these lifetime passes and you could just show up whenever. But I remember hearing a story. I think it was someone, either grandson, nephew, or something of someone who had this pass, and they went, and apparently the ushers, like they showed them the pass. The ushers were like, "Oh, come with us." Just brought them like best seats in the house right behind home plate. They're like, "Sure, just
Yep.
take them."
Yep.
Like,
Well, no, the
that's
reason I
sick.
found out about this is because Trevor May posted about this like last
Yeah,
week, and in the
yeah,
post, it's showing the gold
great
card,
seats.
right?
Yeah,
But
but
he's
phenomenal
like
seats.
right behind home plate,
Yeah,
right there.
yeah.
And I'm
And
curious, like,
so,
if it's like the World Series, do you think they just show like how many gold cards do you think just show up, or do you think they don't even? They're like can't go to the World Series.
depends where. Depends where. Like what I was thinking, 2017 Dodgers Astros World Series. My brother ended up going to one of those games, like sold out. Not a seat available in Dodger Stadium that night. And it's for nights like that where I'm like,
Well, like I also think I'm thinking like, look, like because there's still standing rooms, like there's still standing bars, whatever, like a lot of
yeah, they could
MLB
definitely let them
stadiums.
in anywhere. Yeah.
That's what I'm just saying. Like, how many gold cards just are just in the stadium? They could be standing somewhere, but like just being there.
I bet you can assume that. Let's just look at a week long perspective from Dodger Stadium. I'd say they may get one or two gold cards a week.
I still feel like that's pretty
Good,
good.
good
It's
numbers.
pretty
But
good.
like, actually, to be honest, like if anything, the highest rates would probably be Dodger Stadium.
Maybe Yankee
I just feel like
Stadium,
there's, yeah, I just feel like there would be more retired players living in LA than New York, in my opinion. That's just kind of what I feel.
or you know what? It could be like the Marlins.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
A
Yeah.
100% could be the Marlins
Yeah. I
or
also
like the
just think
Rays.
though, like for many of those, just like I'm specifically thinking like Hall of Famers, but just former players. I feel like for the most part, they're not trying to hit up games that much. They're
No,
done with that shit.
some of them do. I
Yeah,
mean,
so no,
but definitely no.
of course, don't get me wrong.
But
But
it makes you think a little bit more when you see like one of those retired players, or whatever. Like they sometimes pan, you know, this in the stadium or something when you're at a game or during the
so
World
okay,
Series, you'll see the
actually,
broadcast,
I
right?
found this funny the other week, and I have to point this out. So CJ Stroud on Thursday, Friday, Wednesday
Is that
night, one of those nights,
at
CJ was
Dodger
at the
Stadium?
Dodger game,
Yep.
repping the Dodgers now. CJ Stroud, Coldridge, Rancho Cucamonga's finest. Okay, he's a SoCal boy. I remember like right around when he got drafted to Houston, Everett. I remember seeing some Houston fans being like, "Oh, throw out the first pitch for the Astros." Yeah, yeah. And I remember he threw out a first pitch for the Astros had on shit. And I remember looking at it, and I believe CJ tweeted something along the lines like "Go Stros" or so. Like, hey, he's the Houston quarterback. He's gonna have to
Mhm.
you have to be friendly with the other organizations in your city. But it's just great to know that CJ still. I know that there's one aspect of CJ sitting there when he was at that Houston game. He's like, fucking stole a ring from the team. Like I know he thought that. I know he was sitting there thinking that. Like, and
These motherfuckers.
I'm just happy and proud that CJ's a Dodger. CJ's a Dodger. He's not messing with the Astros. He's a Dodger
Yeah, I saw Adam Thielen I went to a game for Father's Day. Adam Thielen was at our
from
game.
Minnesota.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, at the Twins game. Yeah,
At the Twins game. Yep.
yeah. Okay, fire.
Yep.
Like,
No, I did not go to
actually,
Carolina. I don't even know if Carolina has any kind
I
of
was
baseball team.
thinking about this the other day. Like Adam Thielen. So okay, let's start with this. There was someone. It was I forget which fan. Like a Sixers fan saying that in like 10, 15, 20 years, if Matisse Thybulle just showed up to a game and was shown like on the big screen in like 15, 20 years, the stadium would erupt for him. And I was like, you know what? Sure, I can understand. Okay, whatever. Sixers suck so much. Fine. But I was then thinking, like, what are some other like players that would get a pop? And I was kind of thinking of, like random guys like Thibault, but I was then just I don't know why I thought of Thielen Vikings. I think Thielen would get a ridiculously loud pop standing ovation. Like if he was at like a Vikings game in
Oh
fifteen
yeah,
twenty.
he was almost getting one at the Twins game. Like, and
Okay. All
that's
right.
baseball. But it's like if
Yeah.
you really want, like, I mean, this is, I guess, getting more into the NFL, which is also fine because I know we really wouldn't
Like
like to
Adrian
touch on.
Peterson would erupt the
Well, no,
stadium.
he's come
You
to
know?
games already before, but it's like you want like no name guys that would get like standing
Yeah.
ovation.
Yeah.
Chad
Give some.
Greenway would get a standing ovation. Brian Robinson would get a standing ovation. This is Brian Robinson, like Vikings defensive edge, not
Yeah,
running
I'm
back
talking Brian
for.
Robinson, who was in the Stephon Diggs
Yes,
video. Who do you not want to
that
date
Brian
your son?
Robinson. Yes.
Yes.
Toby Gerhart would get one. Jarek McKinnon, questionable. Questionable. He's like borderline.
I'll
I
just
don't really
never
know.
forget Jet Vikings breakout. I'll just never forget it. He had
Teddy
to replace
Bridgewater always will. Case
running back.
Keenum always will.
What like Everson Griffin, like some like defense
Well,
players?
Everson Griffin
Like
still lives here. Everson Griffin's gotten into some trouble recently with the law.
well,
So
yeah, I was about to say, hasn't he had some
he
some
like had
interesting
he got like a DUI like a week ago. Um Maybe 2 weeks ago. But like he might I'm like trying to think of more like no name guys that would probably get some recognition, like that are just Vikings more specifically.
like not a no name, but the Harrison Phillips pop would be
Well,
Smith.
Harrison Phillips still plays though.
Harrison Smith would be crazy.
Harrison Smith it's Harrison fucking Smith. Like number 22 should be retired by the Vikings after he retires, because it's now both his number and Paul Krause's number, which are both legendary safeties.
Okay.
Which I thought that it was going to be retired before Harrison Smith, anyways. But now that it's not, this is either going to go one of two ways. Either you retire the number, which should happen, and it's retired for both of them, or it becomes like the new number 7, like LSU, where it's like you have to earn that number. Like that's the most prestigious number that they have, right? Like you earn the ability to wear 22. Like, you can't just be dog shit and wear 22.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Of course. Like I saw like a video of I mean, you know how much I hate it, but it was JJ like going up to like a Viking legend who used to wear 9. He was like, "Thank you for letting me wear your number," yada yada. Like I love all those videos. I think it's amazing. Like if I remember correctly, it may have been Vargas, because Vargas was wearing 27 on the Dodgers. I think they have like a phone call of him calling up Matt Kemp, like, "Can I wear 27?" He's like, "Of course." Like
it just sucks that Vargas is ass.
Yeah, I know.
So.
But yeah, like okay, I guess we could move on to more MLB stuff right now. Yeah, not a great weekend.
Not a
for the
great
Los
36
Angeles
hours for the Dodgers.
So we'll go in chronological order. Starting off last week, Yamamoto had a start scratched. I believe he was supposed to start last Tuesday, had it scratch, moved back. When that first happened, I didn't necessarily have any major concerns, just knowing going into the season, we were already slightly concerned about his rest in between starts. Like in Japan, on average, they spend 5 to 6 off days in between starts. So just on average, they have more off days compared to us. We also had him throw 106 pitches in New York, his last start. That was most pitches, deepest he's ever gone in an MLB game. So many caution flags, concerns to be like, hey, we can move him back to start. No worries. But what we did not know is that the reason he requested the start to be moved back was he felt some soreness or tightness, what he described as his upper right tricep. And now if I were to think, okay, and I see Yamamoto, he comes up to you, you're the head trainer of the Dodgers, and he comes up to you and he points right like here, and he's you don't exactly know what the problem is. Shit, you needs a translator to communicate with you. You're sitting there like, okay, tricep, I guess high tricep injury, sure, we'll go with that. Then one MRI later, and they're like, oh, strained rotator cuff. That would make a little bit more sense. I've never heard of a tricep injury with a pitcher before, but strained rotator cuff. And, I'm no doctor at this point, but when I look at Yama's pitching motion, it seems like he's got a little bit of a tree going on. All right. So when I mean tree, I mean arms out before he pitches, that back arm.
Not like the Craig Kimbrell, like eagle motion, but like his arms are out there.
but it's like a weird torque with his shoulder when he pitches where he's got his palm facing downwards and then he flips it when he pitches it, and it seems like it creates some stress there, like
Hey, some
especially
torque
on the
on
curveball,
your rotator cuff.
especially on the curveball and the splitty. But for Yama, the predicted timetable, few months out for now. So by few, um, that technically means 2 to 3, but assume
Well,
3.
well,
And to
originally
be
it said a couple weeks, and it's a couple weeks is in quotations, which
that's
means a
never
couple months.
that's never I've never heard of a couple week pitcher injury in my life. So yeah, he's gonna be out for a
Couple weeks till
while.
he's
If it were
throwing,
up,
maybe.
yeah, no, they said he will not pick up a baseball for another month. So from that angle and everything, yeah, I think it's probably best to assume he won't come back this year. Now, this is another reason why I think he will not come back this year, and I think it's in our best interest to not have him come back. We have a clause in Yamamoto's contract that says we can opt out if he has elbow surgery or elbow injury.
Injury. I think
The
it's just
key
injury.
word is elbow. Now, this is a shoulder injury. This is not an elbow injury. And so, also, with a shoulder injury compared to elbow, and it's not like he has like a torn rotator cuff or what would be the term? Separated rotator
Torn
torn.
rotator cuff.
Yeah, so it's not that bad, but like I would say best case scenario, shut him down, or if he can come back, then he can come back. But unless he can come back 100%, don't have him come back this year. If he screws up his shoulder for life, there's no opt out. So, then we lose everything. Then there's nothing to gain. But if we hold him out and we pray the shoulder gets fine, uh, then things can happen in the near future. But this thing, if he just screwed up his elbow if he did just mess up his elbow, then I would totally be on board with opt out of this contract after this season. Roki Sasaki, you are a Dodger. Replace Yama with Sasaki's contract.
Which
Go
is
on
still
with your
just
life.
crazy because like it's a long-term contract with Yamamoto too. So it's like you literally just rented him for a year out of the whole 10 years or whatever that contract was going to be.
Yeah, but like we can void that shit if he has elbow
I just
surgery.
think ideally you'll be able to get both Roki and keep Yamamoto, and hopefully Yamamoto stays healthy. But right now, like
This is kind of what I'm thinking. If they do that, they can. It's totally possible. But if they do that, and let's say Roki gets demands shit, he's younger than Yama and throws harder, and he's 6'4". Okay, so he's going to get equal or more than Yama did. So let's say he gets 375 over 10, 75 deferred, or yeah, like Yama at a 50 signing bonus. Let's say Sasaki's 375 over 10, 75 signing, 300 over 10 deferred to 27 a year, like Yama's. Okay, let's say it's like that. If that's the case, then the Dodgers will have 4 starting pitchers getting paid 27 million plus, which I don't think is the smartest investment. That's just me. I don't think we should be doing that. Uh, and also to point out, remember, guys, we are adding a starting pitcher in Shohei Ohtani this year. Remember that. We always got to remember that. We are
the
adding a
one thing
starter next year,
you know,
an elite
lost in
starter.
everything right now is Kershaw at least will be coming back at some point this season, which is a plus.
Oh, well, yeah,
Um,
Kershaw's on his way back. Bobby Miller has been reinstated off the IL, and Michael Grove has been placed on the IL. So that's 2 guys who need to come up. Bobby's one, and the other, it should be Kershaw coming up here soon. He should be getting ready to come back now. I know he pitched a simulated game on Friday, so that's a good sign. Good
yeah,
benchmark
yeah.
mark to return. But yeah, we can do that. It's just we'll have a lot of money locked up to starting pitching. And if we do that, Teoscar is gone. Teoscar is gone.
It's a matter of your value then. If you value I mean, the question is Teoscar might be gone either way. So it's just going to be a question of, do you want to try and get Roki, or do you want to see if you can retain Oscar and go from there?
Yeah, I would say another thing to point out, like when I just look at a multi-year deal, like upcoming free agents, when they expire, things like that. In terms of a short-term outlook, when we have guys expiring, oh yeah, we're pretty set. We don't really have contracts expiring
Muncie
until
will expire.
2026, but we got him under for another year.
No, I know, but that's why I'm saying you're talking short term. Like
Just for
Muncie's
this
one of those
upcoming
short term.
season, the
Oh,
only
oh,
guys that we could lose after this year, it's Walker, Paxton, Yarbrough, uh,
Teoscar.
Joe Kelly, Teoscar, Hudson, and Trinan. Those are big. We're keeping them. Teoscar, Hayward, Kike. What I'm getting at though is all of the big name guys, they're all inked up. Will Smith, Mookie, Freddie, months we can even count in there. Glasnow, Yam, Kershaw,
Shohei.
Otani, yeah, Dustin, like shit. You can even say like, I mean, dude, Bobby Miller's on pre-arb for another 2 seasons because he's been hurt. Like, bro, Bobby Miller is not allowed to leave till like 2032. So like all these things in mind. Like I would say one thing that would be very, very important to us is uh just getting some rookie production, having guys on these pre-arb contracts who can come in and produce, have a bat in the lineup that costs 700K and then just move from there. But like beggars can't be choosers. We can't get everything we
Okay,
want.
Grant. We'll end off with the NFL here. I have two things
Oh
specifically.
we also gotta talk about Marcus Lynn's bets. Mookie
Oh
Betts has a
yes,
fractured
yes.
hand. They're saying right now could take a couple of months. No timetable for now. No surgery needed. Very important. But yeah, we're gonna need a new leadoff hitter for the time being. This is gonna be a very, very shitty stretch without Mookie. I know he hasn't even necessarily been playing great, but it's still a fear factor for other pitchers going up against Mookie Betts.
I
And then you
honestly
have
just
Shohei
think
and Freddie
I
afterwards.
just think I don't really think you should do much with the lineup. I think you just plug Rojas in there. Just let him bat one.
Oh no, we can't do that. I think what they could do, and actually, Otani's definitely gonna be leading off for now. I think it will probably make most sense to do Otani, Will Smith, Freddie Teoscar. That's actually could be perfect. Lefty righty, lefty righty.
You wouldn't just want to put Teoscar at one either.
No, he can't lead off. He doesn't get on base. Yeah, Otani will lead off. Will Smith 2, I would say. Will Smith could be 3. Freddie could be 2. That could also be it. But I think it'd probably be better off going lefty righty
I'm
with
just
them.
curious. I'm just curious because I don't picture Dave Roberts being somebody who wants to manipulate the lineup to an extreme amount from where it is already.
Well, yeah, I'm just in the past, the 2 games Mookie hasn't played this year, Otani batted lead off. I'm just going off that. And I think it makes sense. Otani should be leading off. He's one of the fastest players on the team. He gets on base. Have him lead off.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
And just give him as many ABs as possible.
Otherwise I really don't know who would have to. I mean,
They can't do Freddie or Will. They have to hit 2, 3, or 4.
Yeah, I mean, otherwise, I mean, your options are probably Hayward.
He can't lead off. It could be them, or you could say like Kike, but we're not leading him off.
So, okay,
I'd be okay.
Let's wrap up here with the NFL real quick.
I got some college football stuff. Not gonna lie, but
okay, well, we can wrap with that.
Yeah.
We have just been going for a minute here. First of all, did you know that the Bears offered the Falcons a 4th-round pick to move back one spot from 8 to 9, and they rejected it?
Okay, this is what I don't understand. Okay, and I'm looking at the Atlanta Falcons perspective. Okay, now this is mid-draft, right? This is not pre-draft.
This is during the draft.
Okay, so you already know the Chicago Bears drafted Caleb Williams. You already know that piece of information. Okay, with that in mind, what makes you think the Chicago Bears would take Michael Penix at 8? What makes
you think they're going to trade up to 8 and then trade the 8th overall pick?
Yeah, no, also, why would they do that? That's just makes zero sense. I don't understand why they declined it at all. You move down one spot, you still get Michael Penix, and then you just get a fourth. And it's even
Free.
more important because they just lost. I
A fifth.
believe they lost
Bullshit.
so
Bullshit.
yeah, which that's
Bullshit.
it. I was
A
like,
fifth
when I
and
read
two
that, I
hundred
was
and
like,
fifty thousand dollars for tampering with the number one free agent and multiple other players. Bullshit.
yeah, that did not make
Keep in
sense.
mind, keep in
They let
mind,
him
the
off the hook.
Dolphins were fined a first and another, I think a first and
Oh,
another
I
pick
remember
and
for
money
Michigan, man, Stephen Ross. I remember.
for talking to Tom Brady and Sean Payton, and they didn't even get either of them.
Yeah, no,
Like,
exactly.
what the
But
fuck?
no, that just makes me think even more that the punishment was you have to draft Michael Penix. Like that just makes you think it even more. Because it just nothing adds
You
up.
think the NFL saw that and they were just like, "Oh, we can't take more from them." Like, they already gave away their first.
No, yeah, they were just like, you know you know what would set them back even further than just taking away their first? Oh yeah, having the entire media on their dick for picking a quarterback there. So we'll do that.
I just that did piss me off a lot though. So, and it's not really like I would have cared that much. Like,
No, that made me angry. I was like,
it's
what?
just, dude, you're basically saying that certain people have certain privileges and or certain teams have privileges the other teams aren't entitled to, and tampering is okay. So let's just keep that going. Um,
Yeah, I mean,
but yeah,
shit. I
that
guess
pissed me
it's
off. Another thing though, just talking about Kirk Cousins though, obviously going back to 2017, the Vikings signed Kirk Cousins free agency, like Case Keenum walked. There was a big debate that year if the Vikings should keep Case Keenum, keep Sam Bradford, keep Teddy Bridgewater. Like there was three different guys they were going towards. Didn't get any of them.
yeah.
Got Kirk Cousins instead. And now that your question is, you look back on all of this, would the actual correct answer have been? I know Case Keenum went to Denver and struggled, right? But would have keeping Case Keenum that year been a better decision? Keep in mind that same year, when the Vikings drafted, okay, they drafted Mike Hughes 30th overall. Grant, guess who went two picks later? One Lamar Jackson
I
went at
don't.
pick 32.
Oh, okay.
And the Vikings could have gotten him. Could have, that was a good quarterback class. Instead of using a first round pick, which by the way was a wasted first round pick on Mike fucking Hughes, they drafted, like, they could have drafted Lamar Jackson if they didn't sign Kirk Cousins. And I don't even know where they would be right now if that had happened.
Yeah,
Just
I'm just
misses.
thinking of how fun it could be if just a team of Lamar to Justin Jefferson. That'd be crazy. That would be crazy. That would objectively be nuts. Dude, Madison would have looked sick with Lamar at quarterback. He would have looked
Madison
sick.
still would have sucked.
But he would have looked sick. Objectively, and you could still do Lamar Jackson. So like it
It
all
does
still
work.
works. It
Does still
all
work.
still checks out. Damn, there's no, well,
Justin
can't do anything
Jefferson.
with Zen. Oh, no. We went over
Yeah, we're
everyone
gonna.
names, but JJ, nothing there. There's nothing to work with. Like it was perfect. Kirk Cousins, Justin Jefferson, TJ Hawkins, Zin,
Jordan
Alexander Madison,
Addison.
Jordan Addison. Like it was perfect. You had everything. Everything.
That's why Dalvin Cook had to get off the team.
Yeah. No, and shit. Yeah, and KJ. We had to get KJ out of there. Didn't work. No Zen to make out of that.
Okay, so what you got to say for college football? We'll wrap up with that for the episode.
All right. So college football. Been hearing some rumors. About Ohio State recruiting. We'll start off with the confirmations that we know. So Ohio State, pretty solid weekend. Got some commitments. So the first one, Quincy Porter, top 100 wide receiver. But the more important part, he was Michigan's main wide receiver target. Now, Quincy Porter, I don't know too much about him personally, but looking at Ohio State's track record at wide receiver, if I were a betting man, the odds are I would bet on him to not be on the Ohio State football team in 2 years and to be in the portal and gone. But of course, things can happen. Of course, things can change. But if I were to guess, that's what I would guess is probably the most likely scenario. But it's more so stealing him from Michigan, which gets me hyped. But anyway, Quincy Porter, welcome to the Scarlet and Gray, my man. But also Ohio State got a commitment from Isaiah West, number 214 player in the class, number 13 running back, went to St. Joe's Prep, where Marv and Kyle McCord went. The reason why Isaiah West makes me chuckle is that last week late, Michigan got a running back commitment from their new running back coach, Tony Alford. Got a commitment from a kid from Louisiana. Okay, so pretty solid like that. But the only issue is he was, I think, like 54th ranked running back in the class. Ohio State currently has
do you know what his name was, by the way?
Cool name. Shit, let me find it real quick. Let me find it real quick. I'll get it.
I mean, I'm just curious.
It was a sick name.
I'm just curious if this is one of those guys that I might have, might recognize from my time.
Let me pull up real quick. Sweet name.
What happens when the unnamed intern's on leave?
It's messy this time of year. Jasper Parker. Archbishop Shaw. Marrero, Louisiana. I don't know if I pronounced that right. Anyway, he's the number 54 running back in the class. The only issue is Ohio State currently has the number 13 running back in the class, and then also a top 100 running back whose name is Bo Jackson. So there are levels to this shit.
Yeah, you can't really compete with a Bo Jackson.
There are levels. There are levels to this, but what I'm hearing is that Ohio State has made some serious movement on some linemen, which is what we really want to see. Yeah, Bo Jackson's the number 3 running back in the country. But I don't know who number 2 and 1 are, but they must be certified. But
Barry Sanders Jr. I don't know.
Yeah, no, literally. Yeah, no. The other running back is Saquon Adrian Peterson. It's like, what the hell? Like, but I'm hearing Ohio State's putting in some work on some linemen. Another thing, number 3 player in the class, number 1 tackle in the class 2025, David Sanders, took an official to Tennessee. Only issue is at his Tennessee visit, he spelled his name wrong. He said his name was Davis Sanders. So we can cross Tennessee off of his.
Yeah, no, that GA getting immediately fired.
0 hesitation, gone. How do you mess a kid's name up?
Which is impressive considering what you do to like make those is you look at their 24/7 page. Like that's what you do.
Where else would you get it? So many things. But yeah, good weekend for Ohio State recruiting, but we are still waiting on the fireworks to come. But recruiting is picking up. It is going. It's getting heavy. I'm here and there. We may have some flip watch. May have a flip watch for some current 5-star commits to USC from the state of Georgia. You tell me how 5-star D lineman from Georgia commit to USC. We know they're not playing.
I guess Lincoln Riley perfected his barbecue or something over there. I don't know.
Yeah, we know that.
Still, the world will never know what happened at Alabama's barbecue. That's a secret that died.
I don't know what's in that brisket, man. But
that secret died when Saban retired. So
I've never.
That would be the very first. Whenever the Bill
Belichick barbecue weekend.
Whenever the Bill Belichick, Nick Saban like broadcast team, whatever they're doing, comes together, the first thing I want to ask is, what the fuck were you doing at that barbecue? What was going on at the Tuscaloosa barbecue?
What's in that meat?
You putting crack in there? Like what's going on there?
Maybe that might be the answer.
They just get them addicted to crack, and that's how they gotta get their re-ups.
Well, that's the Miami way. I'm not sure if that's transitioned over to Tuscaloosa, but who knows? Maybe it has. Maybe it has. But yeah, that's kind of all I had for this episode today. Big time stuff.
With that, thank you guys so much for watching, listening, raise 5 stars. You can find us up on TikTok and on YouTube, on Twitter, whatever, at Waterboy Pod. You can find us, me and Grant, on Twitter at Eversticks and at Waterboy Grant. We post new episodes on YouTube and on all podcast platforms every Tuesday and Thursday. We post new TikToks and on Instagram every day of the week, basically. So check us out there if you want some exclusive content. And we'll see you guys in the next episode. Waterboys out.